I'm Natalie DeMille, and we are continuing our series on the topography of discipleship. This series we're learning about the Word, and Wendy went into the concept of having the Word of God like a topographical map. And it shows us the correct way to go, how to live our life, where the pitfalls are, and how we can navigate where we should be going and how God should be leading us. We looked at a few questions in the previous series. One was, what does it say? What does it mean? What does it mean to me? And now what are we going to do with that? And so what? What continues our quest in order to figure out where we're going in our journey with God? Today I'm going to speak more about the communal word and what that means. And today I'll be talking about three things. One is, what are you grateful for? What are we grateful for as a people and as a community? What are you concerned about? And who are you going to tell? Who are you going to tell this good news about? So a year ago, as we all know, COVID hit. And when it hit my family, it was a shock. I have a husband and two young children. So I'll never forget, on March 13th, I got the email from my child's elementary school that said, we're done. We are stopping school for 4 weeks. And you are now going to be the primary teacher of your child. And my daughter was in a preschool, and they also stopped her class. And so I am a mom that works, and my husband works, and so now I need to stop working and care for my children who are now at home. So I emailed my work on Monday and said, I'm not coming in for 4 weeks. I can handle 4 weeks. Little did I know that was not going to be 4 weeks. But so a couple days later, my work stopped and I was furloughed. And then my husband's work a week later said, you guys have basically an hour to get into work, and then we're shutting down completely for who knows how long. So there was a mad dash in my husband's office. Everyone was there. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and everyone was just pillaging the office. They were taking computers, chairs, desks, screens. There was multiple screens just flying all over the place. And he said it just looked like anarchy because we didn't know what was going to be happening. So as the weeks progressed and we're all at home and it's raining, Easter wasn't the same. We were learning what it meant to live together under one roof with never a break from each other. But we had struggles in that beginning, especially with the distance learning. And I just remember my husband coming down one morning. I'm trying to teach both of my children. My daughter is in tears, my son is in tears, and I am in tears. And my husband is just like, let's take a step back and let's just take a break from this. And I realized how grateful I was to have my husband now at home to be able to help with this other difficult time. He couldn't help all the time because he was now the person who needed to bring in the paychecks for us to survive. But I realized that without anyone else around, he's now the man that I need to lean on and to help. And so I learned right away that I needed to be grateful and a thankful person in this time. And as my heart had to get softer, as I had to have more patience, I realized that there is this worship that is inside me now that is coming out because of a thankful heart that is now going to beget worship to our Savior Jesus Christ. And during that time, there was a verse that I really liked about. It's Psalm 63. And it says, Psalm 63, 1 through 5. O God, you are my God. I earnestly search for you. My soul thirsts for you. My whole body longs for you. In this parched and weary land where there is no water, I have seen you in your sanctuary and gazed upon your power and glory. Your unfailing love is better than life itself. How I praise you. I'll praise you as long as I live, lifting up my hands to you in prayer. You satisfy me more than the richest feast. I will praise you with songs of joy. The ESV version, which I really like, says, my soul will be satisfied with fat and rich food. And I love fat and rich food. I'm not a person that likes vegetables. I really like my steak and potatoes. And I just love that visual imagery of God saying that I am going to satisfy you with some good things. And I feel that as COVID hit and my life completely changed and altered, and my roles were being different, and my family were cooped up together, that I learned that I needed to be satisfied in what God is giving me today. And that just led me to a more worshipful state into who God really was and what he wanted for me in this time. And then the next thing is that I was learning about what are we more concerned about. So as COVID again was hitting, I was now concerned for basic needs. So my pay had cut. I no longer got a paycheck. My husband's pay was also cut. And now we're looking at children that needed to have their needs met in an educational setting. And it was very difficult for us. I remember times when I would go to the store and there wasn't going to be flour or sugar and even toilet paper. Whoever thought that toilet paper was going to be an issue in COVID, I don't know what they were doing. But I had people come and give me toilet paper. They came and gave me flour and sugar and eggs. And I had this community that was pre-COVID that I had established, that I had relationships with, and they were now helping me in this time. And also my son really struggled with the distance learning. He would have to do reading comprehension and then type on a computer how to answer and relay what he was thinking. And he is 7 years old at this time, and he cannot type, and he cannot understand what the teacher is trying to say, and I can't help him anymore with what the reading comprehension was doing. And so the stress level for when I was teaching my son was extremely high. And one day it just got to the breaking point, and I said, we're stopping, I don't know what to do, let's take a break. And so I reached out for help to his teacher, and his teacher was so gracious and just said, you know what, if you need a day off, take a day off. If you need a week off, take the week off. This is a new situation that we don't know what we're doing, and you need to give yourself grace. And I felt like the help that I received through his teacher and through people that gave us food was just an overwhelming sense of a community that really loved on us during this hard time. And so the verse that I really liked is in Ecclesiastes 4 that talks about having partners in life to help you when you need it. So Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So you see that God has laid out for us the better of doing life together. And it's very true that sometimes being separate is good, but you always need that friend, you always need that fellowship, that community to come in and to pick you up when you're getting pretty low. And I feel for a lot of us, COVID was a pretty low mark on our lifetimes, especially those first few weeks. So after that, now who are we going to tell about that? Who are we going to be able to say there is good news in the gospel of Jesus? There is good news with this church who is sometimes broken but can really draw you in and love on you. Who do you want to tell and to bring in to see this great news that we have? Again, when I was in college, I had a roommate, her name was Erin, and we were just randomly paired up at UC Santa Barbara. She was not a believer, and I was. And so she was an accountant major, and I was physics, so we had a ton of math classes together. And I got to know her, we built a relationship, we became friends. And I will never forget, at 11 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, we would be watching X-Files, because we were kind of geeky and we liked X-Files. And so that was our routine, And then on Friday nights, I would be going to a Christian group in InterVarsity. And so, at first I wasn't going to ask her because I didn't know, who she was. Are the party scene? Are you going to go in that way? But eventually she didn't go out on Friday nights, and I said, you should come with us and let's go. And she knew our other next door neighbor who was also a Christian. And she came with us, a lot of times throughout that year, she came with us on Friday nights. So the next year, in sophomore year, we were like, do you want to live with us? So there was 4 girls, and 3 of us were believers, and then there was Erin. And she still wasn't a believer yet, but she had a great attitude towards who Christ was and, open to the gospel. And then one of our other roommates, Sarah, she took Aaron aside and she's like, Aaron, let's study the Bible together one time a week, and we're just going to hang out. You can ask all your questions you want. So Sarah came alongside Aaron and really started to minister her and disciple her before she was a Christian. And I'll never forget the night that Aaron became a believer. She came back, her face was just beaming. And our friend Sarah came in and Aaron was like, I decided to follow Christ. And we were all like, just out of the blue, like a Thursday evening, and she now is in with Christ and in with the goodness of God. And I remember we lived in a little dorm room again, and the whole fellowship came. There was probably 80 students that packed into this dorm room to celebrate Aaron becoming a believer. And I know that the RA came in and said, is there alcohol? Are there drugs? And we're like, oh no, she became a Christian. And she's like, okay, well, we'll leave you alone. Just, midnight, let's everyone go away. But it was a great time that Sarah took and knew that Aaron needed more. She needed more than just a friendship. She needed intentionality to become a believer, for God's path for her to start becoming a believer and following Christ. So as you think about who you want to ask and tell and find, it all starts with relationship and God bringing them in. He has already planted the seeds. We knew Erin for over a year, and she had seeds that were being planted that whole year. But it was not until someone reached out to her that she really understood who God was and she could invite Jesus into her heart. So I hope that this teaching has helped you a little, and until next time.